Hello, it's Miles McGuire with the Warrior King. And today I'm going to go into a definition of talking about who is Israel. So I've been doing a lot of videos and such, hinting around, the times that we're in, what we're doing and what we're not doing. And I got to thinking about, I don't know if I've ever gone into the actual, given a definition of who Israel is and what difference does it make? Why does it matter? And what does it entail? And so today I'm going to go into that. I'm going to actually give the definition of Israel, talk about that, talk who is not Israel, and why it matters. And it's important, believe it or not. And we don't take into account, but when you truly sit back and when you read your whole Bible, the Bible is the story of Israel from the beginning to the end. It's how Israel came to be, how it turned away from Yahweh, and then at the end it's how it's redeemed to again be with Yahweh. So with the scriptures that I've pulled out to kind of go along and talk about who is and who is not Israel, it will shed light on who is, shed light on who isn't, and hopefully it'll help you understand what it is. It'll help explain why it's so important for us to act a certain way, to do certain things, and be certain ways. And so with that being said, let's get on into this thing, and we're going to talk about who is not Israel to start with. And I'm going to start with that. And first of all, who is not Israel? Let's start with the first one. Is a popular one in your Christian circles, and it's the redeemed Gentile. Now, the term Gentile is actually not even in a Hebrew or a Greek translation of Scripture. It's been added into. The KJV put in the word Gentile, and the actual definition of the word Gentile means nations. So everywhere in your Bible that it says Gentile, just put a line through it and put nations. It'll actually make sense to you. So that's in the Old Testament. New Testament, it can be ethnos, which is peoples, tribes of people, races of people, or nations. So it's that's such a misleading term. The whole Gentile, you're a Gentile this, a Gentile that. It's nations. It's that's what it means. It means nations. And so let's get into that. I want to start with Isaiah 60, and it's verse 12. It says, "For the nation and the reign that do not serve you shall perish, and the Gentiles shall be utterly laid waste." So the nations will be laid waste. So if you want to be a redeemed, I don't want to be anything Gentile. I want to be Israel. And you'll see when I read through these verses what that means. To be a redeemed, that means to be a redeemed nation. When you read through it, there is no redeemed nation. There's a redeemed people, but there's no redeemed nations. Israel is never a nation, it's a people. So there is no redeemed nations. The term doesn't even make sense. So let's get off into Jeremiah 30:11. "For I am with you, declares Yahweh, to save you, though I make a complete end of all nations where I scatter you." That term Gentile. I will take the word Gentile out and put nations in just for clarification's sake. "Though I make a complete end of all nations where I have scattered you, yet I do not make a complete end of you. But I shall reprove you in judgment and by no means leave you unpunished." So he's talking about the nations, because he scattered Israel into the nations. That's what it means, when you scattered into the nations. So Israel's been scattered into the nations. Isaiah 34:2 through 3. "For the displeasure of Yahweh is against all the Gentiles, all the nations, and his wrath against all their divisions. He shall put them under the ban, he shall give them over to slaughter, and their slain be thrown out, and their stench rise from the corpses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood." You don't want to be part of the nations. You want to be part of Israel. And we'll get into that. Alright, so the next one I want to talk about who is not Israel is the Jew. The Jew that's in Israel now. They are not Israel. And I took this one from the KJV, and it's Revelation. Hold on a second, didn't put that in my notes correctly. It's Revelation, I think it's, hold on. Give me 1 second. 3 through 9. Revelation 3 through 9. And it says, "Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews, and are not, but do lie. Behold, I make them come to you and worship before thy feet, and to you know that I have loved thee." See, Yeshua, it's in Revelation, he's talking to the children of Israel, the ones that endure. All right, so how do we know it's not the Jews over there? Let's see, because they hate Yeshua, and they keep secret the name of Yahweh. So that's Judaism in a nutshell, as well. And as far as we're concerned, as far as what Israel is the meaning of. So we get John 15:23, and Yeshua himself says, "He who hates me hates my Father." And the Jews, you have to renounce all forms of anything that has to do with Yeshua to become a citizen of the nation state of Israel. So, again, right there, it just shows you that they're not Yehuda. They're Jews, they're Judaism Jews, but they are not Yehuda. Even if there is Yehuda blood over there, they're not the tribe of Yehuda. Let's see, let's just get on past them, because there's a whole lot of stuff we could go into with them, and I choose not to go down that road today. That's another time, for another topic, for another day. And if you want any information on what that is, just hit us up with something, and I'll shoot you some information, and we'll go from there. And the Christian church in general is the next one. And it's 1 John 2, 3 through 5 I've got with them. "And by now, and by this we know that we know him, if we guard his commands. The one who says, 'I know him,' and does not guard his commands is a liar, and the truth is not in him. But whoever guards his word, truly the love of Elohim has been perfected in him. By this we know that we are in him." So everybody says, "Oh, well, it was nailed to the cross." Here we go. The old famous Matthew 5:17 through 20. "Do not think I came to destroy the Torah or the prophets." This is Yeshua himself talking about, the Master himself. "I did not come to destroy, but to complete. For truly I say, until heaven and earth pass away, one jot or one tittle shall by no means pass from the Torah till all be done." It's still the same. "However, when breaks one of the least of these commands and teaches men so, shall be called least in the reign of the heavens. But whoever does and teaches them shall be called great in the reign of heaven. For I say to you that unless the righteousness exceeds the scribes and the Pharisees, you shall by no means enter into the reign of heaven." Well, the scribes and Pharisees at the time were studying Judaism, what the Jews over there in Israel are studying today. So he's telling you that if you study that, there's no way you're in. So there's only one way, and it's through keeping the commands and the witness. So we get to that. That's who is not Israel. So we get that off the plate and get that out in the open. And so we're not. It's all these people who think that they are, but they're not keeping the commands. I mean, we know that they're not. So, but let's get on into who is and what makes them so. I'm going to start with Exodus 4:22. That says, "And you shall say to Pharaoh, thus said Yahweh, Israel is my son, my firstborn son." So we have established right there in Exodus, the second book in the entire Bible, that Israel is the firstborn son. So, okay, here we go. Deuteronomy 26:18 and 19. "And Yahweh has caused you to proclaim today to be his people, a treasured possession as he has spoken to you, to guard all his commands so as to set you high above all nations which he has made, for a praise and for a name and for esteem, and for you to be set apart people to Yahweh your Elohim as he has spoken." High above all nations. We are to be set apart. That's the whole, when you go back and watch all the videos that I'm doing, it's coming from a position of we're to be set apart, to be esteemed above all nations, but it comes with a severe penalty and cost. If you do not walk in his ways, he crushes you. It's devastating. And but I'm going to continue. Exodus 19:5 through 6. "And now, if you diligently obey my voice and shall guard my covenant, then you shall be my treasured possession above all the peoples. For all the earth is mine, and you shall be to me as a reign of priests and a set-apart nation." There it is. I'm going to keep reading. Deuteronomy 7, 6-11. For you are a set-apart people to Yahweh your Elohim. Yahweh your Elohim has chosen you to be a people for himself, a treasured possession above all the peoples on the face of the earth. Yahweh did not set his love on you, nor choose you because you were more numerous than any other peoples, for you were the least of all peoples. But because of Yahweh loving you, and because of him guarding the oath which he swore to your fathers, Yahweh has brought you out with a strong hand and redeemed you from the house of bondage, in the hand of Pharaoh, sovereign of Mitzrayim, and you shall know that Yahweh your Elohim, he is Elohim, the trustworthy El, guarding covenant and kindness for 1,000 generations to those who love him, and those who guard his commands, but repaying those who hate him to their face to destroy them. He does not delay to do so with him who hates him. He repays him to his face. And you shall guard the command and the laws and the right rulings which I commanded you today to do them. So we just keep saying them. It's the entire thing, as we'll get into it in here a little bit. And so I wanted to get into talking a little bit about what it is that happens once you turn and walk the way that he tells us to walk. When you put this earthly stuff aside and these man-made fake religions and all this stuff that's consumed modern man. You know, I read a thing the other day, so the quarter of the nation is turning away from religion in the United States. And that's because they've been lied to so much. They see that the priests and the preachers, you got the pedophiles, you got the greed and the theft, and it's just a mockery of what modern religion has done. And so that's what happens when you start choosing man-made religions over the word of Yahweh himself. If you go back, start in your Torah, study your Torah, understand what he's telling you. It's pure, it's light, it's life, it's love, it's perfection. So then you can pull all that man-made crap out, and it doesn't mean anything, and you can just go straight forward, and everything is wonderful. As I will read what it is that he does for his people that follow and walk in his ways. We'll start in Deuteronomy 15:6, and this is just one verse, and then we'll kick over into Leviticus 26. And it says 15:6, Deuteronomy. For Yahweh your Elohim shall bless you as he promised you, and you shall lend to many nations, but you shall not borrow. And you shall rule over many nations, but they do not rule over you. Leviticus 26, 3-13. If you walk in my laws and guard my commands and shall do them, then I shall give you rain in its seasons, and the land shall yield its crops, and the trees in the field yield their fruit, and your threshing shall last till the time of the grape harvest, and the grape harvest shall last till the time of the sowing, and you shall eat your bread until you have enough, and shall dwell in your land in safety. And I shall give peace in the land, and you shall lie down, and no one make you afraid, and you shall clear the land of evil beasts. And I shall clear the land of evil beasts, and not let the sword go through the land. And you shall pursue your enemies, and they shall fall by the sword before you. And 5 of you shall pursue 100, and 100 shall pursue 10,000. And your enemies shall fall by the sword before you, and I shall turn and make you bear fruit. Turn to you, and you make you bear fruit, and you shall increase, and I shall establish my covenant with you. And you shall eat the old supply, and clear out the old because of the new. And I shall set my dwelling place in your midst, and my being shall not reject you. And I shall walk in your midst, and shall be your Elohim, you shall be my people. And I am Yahweh your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim from being their slaves. And I have broken the bars of your yoke and made you walk upright. That's the Leviticus 26 blessings. Now we're going into the Deuteronomy 28 blessings. And it shall be, if you diligently obey the voice of Yahweh your Elohim, to guard to do all his commands, which I command you today, that Yahweh your Elohim shall set you high above all nations on earth. And all the blessings shall come upon you and overtake you, if you obey the voice of Yahweh your Elohim. Blessed are you in the city, blessed are you in the field, blessed is the fruit of your body, and the fruit of the ground, and the fruit of your livestock, to increase of your cattle, of the offspring of your flock. Blessed is your basket and your kneading bowl. Blessed are you when you come in. Blessed are you when you go out. Yahweh causes your enemies who rise against you to be smitten before your face. They come out against you one way and flee before you 7 ways. Yahweh commands the blessings on you in your storehouse, and all which you set your hand, and shall bless you in the land which Yahweh your Elohim has given you. Yahweh does establish you as a set apart people, as he has sworn to you, if you guard the commands of Yahweh your Elohim and walk in his ways. And all the peoples of the earth shall see that the name of Yahweh is called upon you, and they shall be afraid of you. And Yahweh shall make you to have plenty of what is good, and the fruit of the body, and the fruit of the livestock, and the fruit of the ground, in the land which Yahweh swore to your fathers to give you. Yahweh opens to you his good treasures, the heavens, to give you rain in the land and the seasons, and bless the work of your hand. And you shall lend to many nations, but do not borrow. And Yahweh shall make you the head and not the tail. And you shall be only on top and not ever beneath. If you obey the commands of Yahweh your Elohim, which I am commanding you today, to guard, to do, and to not turn aside from any of the words which I am commanding you today, right or left, to go after any other mighty one. It's, as we can see it, it's just, he lays it out as simply as he can, but it's to be, Yahweh created Adam to have dominion over the entire earth. Every single thing that walked on the earth. Which, when he says that, when you read through this and you see that he says, I will put you above all nations on earth. So I believe that there's an Adamic race and there's other races. He created other races. It just makes sense when you go back and you read how he talks about this, and you go back and read some of the early stuff where he talks about, where did Cain get his wife and all that kind of stuff from. So there's other races on the earth, and where they come from, where they go, that's another discussion for another day. But Yahweh chose these people for a particular reason, and we found it earlier, but that's beside the point. I mean, there's two ways this thing works out. It's Yahweh's way, or the nations that we read about earlier, where he's going to drive them completely into ruin. He's going to crush them, he said. And so, there's two choices, folks. His or not his. But I wanted to read 2 Samuel 7:23, because this is a good description of Israel. And who is like your people, like Israel, the one nation on earth whom Elohim went to redeem for himself as a people, to make for himself a name, and to do for you greatness and awesome deeds for your land before your people, whom you redeemed for yourself from Mitzrayim, from the nations, and their mighty ones. Joshua 23:3. And you, who have seen all that Yahweh your Elohim has done to all the nations because of you, he's talking about Israel, for Yahweh your Elohim is he who fights for you. So he fights for Israel. It's just, Israel's done forgotten who it is. But the instructions, the Torah, the commands are what sets Israel apart. That's what it is. Everybody says, oh, it's belief in this, belief in that. It's walk in my commands. Turn back. Walk in my ways. Turn back. Walk in my ways. He says that countless times. There is no shortcut. There is no magical potion. There is no prayer that you can pray. It's turn back, walk in his commands, and do what he expects us to do. So people say, well, you have to be, blood Israel to be part of this. No, here we go. Isaiah 56, 1-8. Thus said Yahweh, guard right ruling and do righteousness, for near is my deliverance to come, and my righteousness to be revealed. Blessed is the man who does this, and the Son of Man who lays hold on it, guarding the Sabbath lest he profane it, and guarding his hand from doing any evil. And let not the son of the foreigner who has joined himself to Yahweh speak, saying, Yahweh has certainly separated me from his people. Nor let the eunuch say, look, I am a dry tree, for thus said Yahweh. To the eunuchs who guard my Sabbaths, and have chosen what pleases me to hold fast to my covenant, to them I shall give in my house and within my walls a place and a name better than that of sons and daughters. I give them an everlasting name that is not cut off. Also to the sons of foreigners who join themselves to Yahweh, to serve him, and to love the name of Yahweh, to be his servants, who guard his Sabbath, and not profane it, and hold fast to my covenant. Them I shall bring to my set-apart mountain, and let them rejoice in my house of prayer. Their burnt offerings and their slaughterings are accepted on my altar, for my house is called a house of prayer for all the peoples. The Master Yahweh who gathers the outcast, there are still others to him beside those who gather to him. So it's a house for all man that chooses to walk in Yahweh's ways. That is the key to this entire thing, is instructions, walking in the ways of Yahweh. All right, because Exodus 12:49 tells us, there is one Torah for the native born and the stranger who sojourns among you. Numbers 15:16, one Torah and one right literally is for you and for the stranger who sojourns among you. Numbers 15:29, for him who does whatever by mistake, there is one Torah, both for him who is native among the children of Israel and for the stranger who sojourns in their midst. So, everybody says, well, Jesus came and did away with all that stuff because he came for the whole world. Well, in a sense, he did. Because he came back and told us to walk in Torah. And Isaiah just said, if you walk in Torah, there is a place for you in the kingdom of Yahweh. So, but what did Yeshua actually say when he came? Matthew 15:24. And he said, answering, said, I was not sent except for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So Yeshua himself came for the lost sheep of the tribe of Israel. If you are not Israel, he did not come for you. Sorry. Become Israel. It's your choice. It is not something you cannot do. You can do it. But I want to get into Revelations 12:17 because this is all the way to the end. This is what's going to happen at the end. And the dragon was enraged with the woman, and he went out to fight with the remnant of her seed. This is the same seed that Yahweh said in Genesis would smash the head of the dragon. Those guarding the commands of Elohim and possessing the witness of Yeshua Messiah. So he came out to fight them. This is what's going to happen in the end. So obviously, people are still keeping the commands of Yahweh because this is the end days. This is what we're trying to do so hard, keeping the commands of Yahweh and the witness of Yeshua Messiah. Revelation 2:26, and he who overcomes and guards my works to the end, to him I shall give authority over nations. The word Israel means to overcome with El. That's what it means, to overcome with El. So Yeshua says, and he who overcomes, Israel, basically, just put Israel in with that, and guards my works until the end, Israel has authority over the nations. We go back to the blessings in the beginning. That's what Yahweh said. And he shall shepherd them with a rod of iron, and the potter's vessel shall be of broken pieces, and as they have received from my Father. It's Yeshua is talking about Israel regaining its splendor, coming back, and that'll be one of the next messages I get into is talking about Israel's return to power, Israel's return to prominence, and what that truly means. And I hope this helps explain to you what Israel is. So as people always, I am, the redeemed Gentile, which is an insane statement to make. There is no such thing. He doesn't talk about redeeming Gentiles. He talks about redeeming Israel. Israel is the only one that gets redeemed in Scripture. So read your Bibles, folks. Read your Bibles. Don't let some man interpret anything for you. I don't care who he thinks he is. Read the book for yourself. Pray. Tell him to open your mind, open your heart so that you can read what the words say in the page. Not just mumble through it. Pray about it. Let him open up your mind. Let him open up your heart to what this stuff is truly saying, because there's more to it than just words. There's more to it than just going through the motions of the Old Testament to get to the New Testament. The New Testament, I have truly come to the conclusion, because Yahweh tells us in the commands. One of the commands is to read and study, meditate on the Torah daily, on his instructions daily, day and night. You're to dwell on them so they become a part of you, your actions and how you act and treat, because you are to be a set-apart people. You're to be better than everybody. He's teaching you to rule nations. That's what the Torah does. It teaches you how to be fair, how to rule nations the way he wants them to be ruled. Right ruling. Just to be a priest to him, to be able to people come up. And they say, we want to know about this. You will be able to tell them the commands of Yahweh, how to walk a righteous life. And it is not difficult. It is not difficult. I hate when people say, oh, you can't keep all the commands. Have you tried? If you haven't tried, stop saying that you can't keep the commands, because that's you're lying. You're lying to yourself. Because John said, He doesn't keep the commands and says that he knows him is a liar. So obviously it can be done. So start doing it. Let's all start. It's just a daily check. Every day you check yourself. And if you choose not to walk in sin, you will not. You will not. So choose not to walk in sin. Do right by him and understand his ways and his right rulings. Because he gives us life. The Torah is life. It's in the instructions. That's what he says, folks. I'm not making any of this stuff up. Read the book. Read the Bible. Don't just start in the middle, or not even in the middle. Don't start toward 3/4 of the way in and read to the end. You won't get it. You won't figure it out. He says that's why this is my advice to everybody out there. Study Torah. Study Torah. The first 5 books. Study it till you know it by heart, and then read the prophets. Understand, read the prophets, but continue reading your Torah. Then you'll see that the prophets, all they're telling you to do is do Torah. Then you get into the Gospels of Yeshua. After you're a foundation in Torah, you're reading the Gospels, and he's telling you, keep Torah. Then you read Paul. He's telling you, keep Torah. Revelation. Keep Torah. Everybody's telling you to walk in the instructions of Yahweh, to be set apart, because that's the only people who will be redeemed to be Yahweh's people. So with that, I'm not going to just drag this out any longer because I don't know what else to say about it, and I'm not going to kick anybody else down. I'm not an anti-Christian or Catholics or any of that stuff. I don't. They're just man-made religious systems that are meant to lead men astray and to walk contrary to Yahweh's words, and they are the nations. They are the nations. They are the nations that Yahweh talks about crushing in the end because they lead his people astray. So, with that being said, I hope that you get something out of this. We're gonna, before too long, I'll do the one on Israel's rebirth, what it's gonna look like, and it's an awesome story. It's awesome. But we are in those days. We are truly in those days. If you don't believe me, just flip on your news and see what's happening in the Middle East and the one world government and the one world religion. The third temple, all that stuff it's on the forefront. It's what everybody's talking about now. And prepare, folks. Prepare for the times, because they're here. They're coming. So, with that, may Yahweh bless you and keep you. And until next time, thank you.